Hello. So I'm recording this with my iPhone 6S. Just trying to see. It's kind of wobbling right now because the table's wobbling and I have it on a little tripod thing that wobbles. But I saw one of the other YouTubers I watch do a little video about their experience in college, and thought, hey, why not give a native perspective or a Inupiat perspective on going to college. I went to the University of Alaska Fairbanks for over 12 years, on and off, not the whole time. I didn't go to college, well, consecutively for 12 years. I went to UAF, University of Alaska Fairbanks, from when I graduated high school in 1996 until 2001, when I graduated with my associate's degree and my bachelor's degree. I have a general associate's degree. You kind of used to be able to get them when you complete your core classes. There's core classes that you have to complete in order to graduate with any degree from the University of Alaska Fairbanks, as mandated, I guess, by the Western Student Exchange, or that university code. I can't think of it. I'm not that far into the university life, but yep, I graduated. I have a bachelor's degree in rural development with minor in business. I was a part of Native American business leaders at the university, as well as a New Yupik dance group, which is a native dance group, mostly composed of North Slope, Northwest, and Yupik Eskimos. They're different populations, but we're just trying to remember like our traditional dances. So did that for a few years. Worked in Barrow for 2 years. Then when I was working for the North Slope Borough School District, I kind of wanted to be a principal, because I was doing migrant education grant work. So I went. I said I was just talking with principals there at the North Slope Borough, because I traveled to every village on the North Slope, all 8 of them. Got to meet with their principals, or sometimes they have assistant principals, depending how big their school is. Like Point Hope has assistant principal, or it did when I was working for the North Slope Borough School District. They had a lot of money, and usually the school is the largest facility, no matter which community you go to. There's money in education, because our kids need to learn. And so I decided to go back to the university. At first, I didn't go directly to Fairbanks again. I went to, oh, there I go again. The table's wobbly. I went to Anchorage, and attended University of Alaska Anchorage for a year and a half. I bought a condo, lived in it for a year and a half, and decided to move to Fairbanks again. Got a job there. Since I was working for the university in Fairbanks, I decided to get, another bachelor's degree, because education, the tuition waiver was still in effect when you were a University of Alaska employee. So I got my second bachelor's degree in Alaska Native Studies, because I had a lot of classes already from. I also went to Elizabeth College when I lived in Barrow. Um, so I got my second bachelor's in Alaska Native Studies with a minor in rural development, and had a job offer from Elizabeth College to work for them. So they paid my way. I mean, bought my ticket, bought uh, all my stuff to move up to Barrow. I mean, everything. They paid me $5,000 for moving expenses, so that was very nice of them. So I was indebted to them for a year. Um, so I worked for them for a year, and while I was working for them, I got to know the health directors a little bit because when I was working for Ellis Abic, I was traveling to the village and just got talking with some of the people that said, "Hey, you should work for the borough." And I never worked for the borough before, so I just said, "Sure, why not? I have a bachelor's degree and I can pass a criminal background check." So I went to work for the North Slope Borough Health Department as the senior programs director. Um, and I worked there for about 6 months, and then what got me was the director said I did not have to attend the assembly meeting, but the assembly members said, "Why isn't your senior programs director here?" And she says, "I have no idea." And then she's the one that told me that I don't need to attend the assembly meetings, only directors do. And I was only a program director, so I directed a small program. And I did not know I had to attend an assembly meeting, a North Slope Borough assembly meeting. As a program director, I would have attended if that was a request of me, but like I said, I asked her. She said no. So I got let go from that position. So I was thrown under the bus, so to say. But then I worked for ICAST, Inupiaq Community of the Arctic Slope, and it was interesting. It was kind of too loosey goosey for me, and I was doing ICWA cases, Indian child welfare cases. So that part, I saw the bad parts of our culture. It really made me get gray hairs, full of gray hairs now. Some of the stuff I heard, I am not a social worker. I praise them for all this psychological stuff they had to go through. It made me cry. Some of the stuff like I listened to, I can't talk about them because some of the cases are still going on. The kids are almost graduating, but it's so sad. Just hearing all the stuff our kids went through that had to go into the system. That's a small portion of our children in Alaska, but just seeing that, hearing, and appearing on behalf of each one of the tribes kind of made me want to get out of there. So I decided to seek employment elsewhere. I move after that. I worked for my village corporation after that, the Kavik Inupiaq Corporation. I was a executive secretary. It was interesting. I didn't really want to be a secretary. I was a secretary for somebody that didn't have the education that I had, and they were just a board member. So I was like, well, I was talking to one of the subsidiary companies, what do they call them? General managers. And I decided to work for him because he was in Inupiaq too. He had a college education. He had a engineering degree. A few Inupiaqs have engineering degrees. So that was cool. So I worked for him for a year and a half, and then we weren't quite sure if we are going to get a federal government contract again, the one I was working on. So I was kind of worried. So I decided to get a job back. Let's see, do you want to go to Anchorage or here? I think I went to Fairbanks again. Worked, and while I was working for Ontario Regional Housing Authority, I went to Anchorage, and I was a general manager for Cully Corporation, small village corporation. They just lost their 8A contracting. What they call graduated. I didn't know that was a thing until I was a general manager of the company. Things I didn't learn at UIC, but I should have done more of my research on the company, on their contracts. I should have asked more questions. This is something I learned after the fact. I was offered the opportunity recently to be the general manager of Nunavut Corporation, and some of those questions I asked for the Nunavut Corporation, I learned from my experience of running the Cully Corporation. And Nunavut has more village-based projects more than Cully Corporation did. Cully Corporation didn't have any projects going on in the community. They're not Cully Corporations are way out in this northwestern part of the state. Sorry, it's gonna email work. Sorry, I was reading a work email. So while I was so the Cully Corporation, they didn't have anybody left that could do contracts, meaning like physical contract work. So I decided to move back with my parents and got a job with Ontario Regional Housing Authority in Fairbanks. I stayed there for 6 years. While I was doing that, I got an associate's degree in business, because telling people that I knew business without having a degree in business, in my mind, even though it's an associate's degree, I just felt that would add to my resume. So I got that, graduated with a 3.2 GPA. Learning numbers again, learning the math was very interesting. I'm also trying to get my master's degree. I went to what's it called? Wheeling Baptist University. Went there. I didn't like the way they did their classes. They're all online or one or two. Wayland Baptist University is more geared to soldiers, people that have been in the armed forces for many years that are high-ranking officers. That's a way for them to get their bachelor's and master's degrees, which more power to them. But the most of the professors were also people of that same culture, and them referencing like boot camp and some things the military does, I could not relate to because I was not part of that in any of my backgrounds. So I was like, this is not the university for me. So I walked away from that. I'm working for a nonprofit Native organization that does run a one of their components is a university which I plan to attend in the future. They do give tuition discounts to Alaska Natives, so I plan on getting my master's degree in business after I work for them for a year. I'm currently in Anchorage. I really appreciate the university system in Alaska. I experienced it here in Anchorage at the University of Alaska Anchorage, University of Alaska Fairbanks, which is the home base of the University of Alaska system, and also appreciate tribal colleges such as Ilisavik. I attended Ilisavik for 3 years. I have a certificate in Inupiaq. It's been a long time since have spoken Inupiaq, so I'm a little rusty. I can read most of it. I can understand conversations more than I can speak it. So, because my mom speaks Inupiaq fluently, and I was raised in the Presbyterian Church. My mom did sing inspirations a lot, and I know most of the songs by heart. Not just by reading them, but just listening to them. And then listening to the Bible spoken in Inupiaq, I understand most of it. But that's my experience. This is almost 20 minutes long. See if I can get it uploaded. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.